Good morning and welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. It is relatively early for me to be outside. I'm not a huge morning person, but we've got some severe weather going on today, and consequently I also have a goat that's due to give birth. I really hoped that she would give birth before the bad weather came, but alas, she did not. And at this point I'm kind of hoping that she holds out, but I don't know. Today really might be the day. Good morning. How you doing? Can I check you? So the good thing is I can feel her ligaments and her udder isn't super tight, so I don't think she's gonna deliver during the day today, but the worst of the bad weather is going to be happening overnight. And I think I'm just gonna leave her in there during the day today. We do start to get some sketchy weather around 2 p.m. and I don't wanna have to worry about trying to catch her and put her in there again, because she's not my easiest goat to catch. So close to a month ago, a very bad windstorm tore a big hole in the roof of our barn right over these kidding stalls. And Levi put it back together as best he could. There are a couple leaks, but really 2 of the 3 kidding stalls are fine. It's just this middle one that I have to put a bucket in. But I don't need 3 kidding stalls necessarily. I just need 1 kidding stall for a mama to give birth and another kidding stall to put some babies away overnight so we can do our milk share. You're too little for a milk share, aren't you? I'll be back later to milk. It's been less than a week since I planted some squash and some lima beans in the greenhouse. Nothing's coming up yet. Not that I expected to see anything, but you have to always check. The strawberries that we put in here are all waking up though. Good morning. Our Premier One electric fence has seen a couple really blustery, stormy events, and it's held up really well. We haven't had it blow over or anything like that. Go back in your house, Hamish. I'll bring you hay in a little bit. Hey, hey. Nope, no more Babas, remember? They're going, ow. Oh, good boy. And it looks like this new buck house is staying nice and dry. We have kind of a chronic issue. It's not really an issue. It's actually a benefit in my greenhouse. But even when a structure on our property has a very adequate roof, the ground just seeps, or the water just seeps from the ground straight into whatever structure. It happens with my barn. We had to elevate the floor of the barn in order to not let that happen. And consequently, whenever we build something like this that we want to stay dry, obviously on the inside, Farrell is looking for a bottle. He can't have any more. No, no more Babas. No more Babas. They're gone. It's gone. We put a pallet inside of the shelter, and eventually over time, as the goats waste hay that we put in there, it really builds up the floor and stays nice and dry. Go back in your house, boys. I don't have anything for you yet. You too, go back in your house. Our neighbor gave us this hutch holder, and actually one of our friends gave us the cage that's inside. And they have a really cool innovation, this curtain that they put on the front of this hutch that really does keep out a lot of wind, and especially the rain, like I wouldn't expect it to. It's some kind of felt material. Maybe it's like a heavy duty weed fabric, I don't know, but it's also weighted down with a piece of wood, and it stays down in high winds, and it also keeps a lot of the moisture out, which is really awesome. You can see the quail have some spilled food here, and it's not wet at all. It's been raining a ton too.
Well, the garden sure is happy to see some rain. It's not like we haven't had quite a lot of rain. I actually haven't had to hand water any part of the garden, which has been really nice. Quite different from last year. Although at this time last year, we weren't experiencing a drought.
I noticed that pretty much every little broccoli that we have is starting to put on a mini head, but what they're actually probably doing is bolting.
And what that means is it's going to seed, which is not really what I want, but it's really expected in our area. I have tried to grow broccoli for 4 years, fall and spring for 4 years, and I've only had success one time. And that was Gypsy hybrid broccoli. This is Waltham 29 broccoli, which I've tried several times and I've never gotten it to come to a head. So I've got to order some more Gypsy hybrid broccoli because I'd like to try that broccoli again next year.
You can tell that this little head isn't going to be anything substantial because it doesn't have a nice compact shape. These little flower buds are getting ready to open. This purple cauliflower though, I don't see any signs of a head, which is good. This has always done well for me. Now we did get a little bit of frost damage, but we should not see any more real big frost. So these guys should produce for us well this year. It's a purple asparagus. There's another one right here. Look how fat that one is. Oh.
This one actually snapped off when I poked it. It's probably really saturated with rain. Super delicious. Over on this side of the garden is where we have our thornless blackberry patch. And prior to growing blackberries here, I actually had a lot of chamomile. And ever since I planted the chamomile and let it flower one time, we have been having volunteer chamomile come up in this spot every year since.
See, that's what all this is. All these little wispies. There's actually a lot of it down here in the walkway. Looks like I stepped on that one.
Right now it seems to be doing okay, but I imagine later on in the season it probably will get a little bit shaded out by those blackberries. So I'm thinking about transplanting them. But the thing is, wherever I transplant them, they're going to be coming up there too, which I guess that's not a bad thing. I will never complain about edible volunteers.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. That's crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
So it's been almost a week since I started adding a feed additive to my goats' sweet feed. It's called BioWorma, and it's supposed to halt the life cycle of certain intestinal worms and stomach worms. And at first, much like the reviews stated, the girls really didn't like it. It wasn't palatable to them. They didn't want anything to do with it. But by about day 3, and especially by day 4, they are really gobbling it up. And I'm hoping that it makes a really big difference for us this year as far as worm load goes. Margie, though, she's a serious foodie and she basically eats anything. She was probably the first one to really not care about it.
Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon.
Holy moly, Sunny. Are you gonna give me some of that?
No limit to what we can do. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right.
recently, how many goats am I milking and how long does it take to get enough milk to make cheese? Well, right now I'm milking 6 goats. They're all in varying levels of lactation. Pesky here delivered in November, but Pepper, the goat that I milked before her, she delivered in September. So they really aren't in their peak milk production right now. And I am only milking once a day. And when you milk once a day, you do get a little bit less milk every day than you would if you milked more than that. But we get more than enough milk for the things that we want to do, and I get a gallon every single day milking once a day. And the severe weather threat that we have in our area, it really is one of the big reasons that I don't milk twice a day. I don't want to commit to needing to be in the barn every 12 hours or else my goats may get mastitis and get sick, because sometimes I just have to be safe and stay in my house. So thankfully the severe weather is in the afternoon today, so I don't have to rearrange my schedule. Sometimes if severe weather comes during the morning times, I will do my milking in the evening the night prior, and then I'll have to rework myself and my goats back into a morning schedule. But we are on schedule today. I got a whole gallon of milk, and I am going to be making some cheese later. I'm not going to be showing how I make the cheese today. I've done that in a separate video, and I'll link that at the end of this one. But before I do any of that, I actually need to get a couple extra goats on the stand because I need to be giving some medicine, because a couple of them I'm pretty sure have some liver fluke. So I've been noticing some less than ideal little clumps of poo hanging around, and I've been watching everyone and their butts, and I think the one goat that is having less than ideal poops like that is Talia. I have done fecals on Talia and I'm not seeing a worm load that alarms me, but she's coming up on her due date. She is going to be kidding at the end of April, and Talia's a first freshener who does have a history of liver fluke, and I kind of want to nip it in the bud. Liver fluke eggs don't always show up on a fecal, and I just want to make sure that she's going to remain healthy, because the goat's immune system really tanks around the time that they kid, and when their immune system tanks, the liver fluke or the worms that are in their bodies can take over, and I don't want anything happening to her. Come on, Tally. Come on, Tally. Good girl. Come on, Tally. Come on. That a girl. Okay, your FOMACHA's not bad. I don't know if that came up, but she's got a pretty good FOMACHA score, so she's not anemic yet. I don't really want to be treating any goats with any dewormers unless expressly necessary, because I don't want to be contributing to any kind of dewormer resistance. But from what I understand about liver fluke is the liver fluke goes through cycles throughout the year, and they don't always express eggs in the feces. So even if you were able to pick up the heavy eggs on your fecal, you wouldn't be seeing them all throughout the year because of the cycle that they go through, but they could still be doing damage to the goat. So I am going to be giving her a dose of ivermectin plus today. This is going to be her first one. She is pregnant, but she's in her last trimester, so I feel comfortable giving this medicine to her. And she's going to be getting a dose today, a dose again in 10 days, and a dose again 10 days after that, and hopefully that takes care of the issues that she's having. The dosage for ivermectin plus is 1 ml per 40 pounds body weight. So Talia here is going to get 3 mLs. When you give a sub-Q injection, one of the most ideal spots is to do it right here behind the goat's elbow. There's a little bit of a fat pocket here, and you can pull the skin out, make a tent with the skin, and inject the medicine within that tent, under the skin, not in the muscle. It does burn, so she's probably gonna dance around. I'm sorry, baby. Let me move. I know. All right, all right. Shh. I know. Okay. Okay. There we go. Poor thing. Oh, no. No, ma'am. No. Very good. She still has her ligaments, but they're definitely loosening up. Her udder isn't super huge though, so hopefully she waits till tomorrow or after the weather passes tonight. I think it's out of the area by about 1 a.m. I think she might wait, thank goodness. She still kind of has a knot where she had her last injection. I need to double check where else I can put it because I don't really want to be adding on top of where it's already inflamed. Hang on. Looks like there's a spot up on the neck where you can do a sub-Q. And Christine handles ivermectin really well. I know, she's mad. I am gonna put her back in the kidding stall. So ordinarily I wouldn't be feeding hay in the morning. I'm still feeding a tiny bit of hay in the afternoons after the girls have been out and grazing all day long. But because of the weather today, they're not gonna be out very much in it. I don't really blame them, and I wanna make sure that everybody is well nourished. So I am gonna throw some hay today at the girls, and then I need to go throw some hay at the boys. Hopefully, by the time I have another video for you, it is of Christine having her kids. I hope we're having twins, and I hope she holds out.